When anybody comes in with an injury like that, we're always like, yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Your finger, don't touch the trigger until you're ready to shoot.
Well, if this was a real injury, it would obviously be a major injury both to the face and in the orbit. He's lost his eye. He's lost part of his skull on the right side. There may be then bone fragments that then penetrate into the brain that cause brain damage. They're called secondary missiles because the bone fragments themselves act like little small bullets. I've seen multiple gunshot wounds to the head. You can survive an injury like this with medical attention. You'd have to respond to this pretty quickly. It requires a multidisciplinary team of physicians and nurses and to take care of these patients, and they have to be in the ICU for a long period of time usually and have pretty intensive medical treatment for it.
I still know how to survive.
If this was a gunshot that went right through the eye and into the brain, then the chances of surviving that sort of injury are very small. Choosing the right side was very fortuitous. In this particular instance, the damage looks like it would be mostly to the right frontal lobe and then the right temporal lobe. And those are, in the vast majority of people, are the non-dominant side of the brain. And one could expect from a relatively minor injury to the right frontal lobe, you might have some subtle personality changes, you might have some more impulsiveness, some minor cognitive changes. The first thing would be that he would need to be stabilized in terms of the usual what we call ABCs, which are airway, breathing, circulation. One of the major issues would be bleeding because you have several large blood vessels going to the scalp, going to the orbit and to the eye in that area that would have been damaged. There could potentially be a lot of blood loss. The risk of infection is usually pretty high with a gunshot wound. You'd have to have some sort of reconstructive plastic surgery to basically cover the exposed areas. Leaving it open is pretty much almost a guarantee to get infected at some point. You could get bacteria that then gets into your bloodstream and then causes what's called sepsis, where you could have an overwhelming infection and die from that. Usually the younger you are, the better chance you have of recovering more fully from any sort of traumatic brain injury. I wouldn't recommend someone with this injury just then walking out into the post-apocalyptic world or into the wilderness and going from there on his own, because I don't think you would survive very long without some sort of medical attention. Is it impossible? Nothing's impossible.